Wow, I feel old. Once Upon a Time, Mexico turns 20 today. That's right, everyone. The man, the myth, the legend, the mariachi. Once Upon a Time, Mexico turns 20, the conclusion to the Mariachi trilogy / Mexico trilogy from Robert Rodriguez. To preface, Desperado is one of those quintessential 90s films for me growing up. I saw it with my parents when I was little. We saw it on VHS. Showtime aired it all the time. We also saw El Mariachi on VHS. We rented it because we knew it was like a kind of remake / sequel to El Mariachi. And just seeing Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek, seeing the action scenes, it just had an effect on me when I was younger. Just one of my favorite films growing up with my family. And it was cool that a Texas filmmaker, Robert Rodriguez, directed that with a studio. It's not like now where they plan franchises or the entire plot / synopsis of a film before it's released. You see it online. No, we had no idea that there was going to be a sequel to Desperado. And I remember getting like a Cinemark Theater calendar, and they had like Once Upon a Time Mexico with like the scorpion logo. And the very same day we saw Entertainment Tonight, and this showed the first image of Antonio Banderas during the shootout scene, during the Pistolero Juno reactor scene. I was like, oh, that looks cool, Once Upon a Time Mexico. I didn't know it was related to Desperado, but I just said to myself and Mom, I was like, is this going to be a sequel to Desperado? Because he looks an awful lot like he did in Desperado. And it wasn't until we got that trailer. That's right, that famous trailer that shows Salma Hayek and Johnny Depp against the sunset with the Juno Reactor soundtrack.
Once upon a time in Mexico.
Are you still standing?
Oh man, such an iconic trailer that had an effect on me. It's one of the earliest trailers along with Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines that year that I just kept watching over and over on the internet. Way before YouTube was a thing. Watched it on the official movie page. Oh man, it was quite the film, to say the least. And I remember it too because I was getting into Robert Rodriguez films with Spy Kids. And this is a special film that's near and dear to my heart for one reason. Star Wars was a film that inspired me. I started becoming more interested in filmmaking when I saw Mad Max and Saturday Night Fever at a young age in the late 90s. But it wasn't until I saw this film in theaters on September 13th. It came out September 12th on a Friday. It wasn't until then, and when I got this DVD here, when I saw the 10-minute filmmaking school from Robert Rodriguez, that I realized that filmmaking could be a reality. That could be a possibility. And that was the film to really kickstart my career as being a filmmaker. I haven't made as many films as I would like, the COVID world, but this film kind of started me on the filmmaker's journey. To quote Tarantino, it was the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Mariachi trilogy, It's so cool that they kind of got the idea of this name when Tarantino just told Robert Rodriguez, if you have another one, call it Once Upon a Time Mexico. And that's why you see the special thanks there, which is kind of funny because then you have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's just, I don't know, once upon a time, whether it's America, the West, Hollywood, or Mexico, you're going to be in for a treat. And this had a stellar cast. We had Antonio Banderas reprising his role as Mariachi. We had Selma Hayek there with him. And then we have Johnny Depp as Agent Sands. We have Ruben Blades, William Dafoe, Danny Trejo back in a different role, Cheech back, and a small appearance from Enrique Iglesias, as well as some other actors. And I love the soundtrack to this. Robert Rodriguez scored it. He shot, edited, and scored this flick, so to speak. It just has this epic grand feel, this conclusion. And in essence, it's not only a third film, it's really the third and fourth film. You get a lot of story of what happened between Desperado and Once Upon a Time Mexico. And the way I look at it is with Cheech's character, where it's just like, if El Mariachi was the man, Desperado is the myth, this is a legend. It like heightens the mariachi, so to speak. And he, again, you can't have an adventure or sequel without him fighting for something, for a cause, for losing someone, And that kind of fits back to the themes of the first two films in this. I love Johnny Depp's opening with the inflatable arm and the Clash of the Titans lunchbox with the money. I just love it. It's just like, you'd kill me over that? You wouldn't dare. It's like, oh, yes, I would. So many great moments of dialogue. Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant? You want me to shoot the cook? No, I'll shoot the cook. My car's parked back anyway. They see the whole scene with Johnny Depp going through the kitchen. But I just love the way this starts with Agent Sands trying to basically organize a coup in the government. You have this General Marquez, who's a villain who we know more about through the course of the film, and then this drug cartel guy, Barrio, William Dafoe, which, oh my God, he's unrecognizable here. I mean, he's like, he spoke Spanish and everything. Like, he convinced me. I was like, wow. I saw him like literally as a Green Goblin like a year or two earlier go to this. And then Johnny Depp had a hell of a year. I think they shot this early in 2001, but it was edited, assembled, and released in 2003. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. But Johnny Depp, it was cool seeing him as Captain Jack Sparrow, and then this film. And this, he took it all the way to freaking Broadway, let me say. So many lines. This should cover us for a long time. F off, he tells a little kid that's trying to sell him bubble gum. And then I love it where he has a CIA shirt in the Matador ring with the Bulls. Yeah, it's cool seeing how he sets this up, and he's looking for the mariachi. We get to see the mariachi in this village kind of like lie low, and he's playing the guitar. And I love that opening, and we get to see more with the gravestones with his wife and daughter there. And that's something you can catch on repeated viewings. But what makes this film special, along with Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, Once Upon a Time Mexico is one of the earliest films shot, like major motion picture studio films shot on digital, before Collateral, before the majority of films used it. And it was cool seeing how it looks, you know. This is a pure example of, like, sometimes it's not really the tool that makes it, but the person using the tool. This, in my opinion, is Robert Rodriguez's magnum opus. This and Sin City together are just two incredible films. And I love how Danny Trejo's character is introduced. How the mariachi has to find some friends to basically wait for Marquez to kill the president, and then he's going to kill General Marquez because I know they have a vendetta against him, and they want somebody else to run. The mariachi has a conscience here, and he realizes there's more going on than meets the eye. We also have Eva Mendes in this, a very early film. The twists and turns there just caught me off guard, but what I loved is that I was waiting for Salma Hayek, and it's not until like you go through the course of the movie and you're like, oh shit, she's dead. Like, what? And you get to see what happens, and it builds up to a conclusion. You begin to fill the gaps, and it's just, oh, it's such an incredible feeling. Moments of humor. The church shootout was very well done. They couldn't get the guns arriving in time, so they had to use rubber guns, so that was like all CG. Like, this is just pure independent film at its finest with the tricks and stuff that Robert Rodriguez has used. I mean, this is an example of, like, it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have, you know? And seeing Johnny Depp play another role as the guy in the priest confessional, I love that. All the way to the song at the beginning of Desperado being the ringtone. We heard that ringtone as well in Spy Kids. But, oh man, it's such a good epic war film by the time it gets to the end of it, when you find out about Marquez and just the showdown that happens. The part with Johnny Depp in his eyes, though, just, oh man, still to this day kind of gets to me in that betrayal. But I also love Mickey Rourke in this, and Ruben Blades. There's this whole thing with Ruben Blades. I love that part where he's just like, didn't Barrio kill your partner, Archuleta? He's sitting right there. And he's basically like putting all these chess pieces together to do things, and that's pretty much what the movie is one giant culmination. And it is very much like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We even saw a little bit of that this year with John Wick Chapter 4, with like Save the Mariachis, like John Wick, here's these other characters and moving variables that are going on in this bigger world. That's kind of what's happening here. That was such a crazy betrayal, and that was a gory part of the film, but I love that dialogue, and very early role for Mickey Rourke, because like he came back with The Wrestler, but to me this and Sin City, when he played Marv, was like Mickey Rourke's comeback, the start of it. Like, really, I love how the variables move together, and ultimately the mariachi decides to do the right thing and protect the president. And I love this line where he's just like, you know, when I was younger, I thought I started at the bottom, and now I realize I started at the top. And the way the score is here, I just can't believe how Robert Rodriguez did this, and the CG and everything through Avid. It was so cool. I recommend anyone, if you can find it on YouTube or get the DVD Blu-ray, check out his 10-minute film schools and cooking schools. The cooking school is hilarious. He shows you how to make the dish that Johnny Depp has. Yeah. If you don't know how to cook, you basically don't know how to... Yeah. So many valuable lessons in this film with the production and in the story itself, but It's just a heartfelt, amazing, epic film that always just makes me feel good at the end. It's like, this is a worthy conclusion to an excellent trilogy. A trilogy that is very much like The Man with No Name in Mexico in a way. You know, you could see like Mad Max and the Mariachi trilogy kind of take influence from The Man with No Name from Sergio Leone. And Antonio Banderas gives another stellar performance as a mariachi in this. I wish Selma Hayek was in it more, but it's cool seeing the tips and tricks used to bring this tale to life. And even though it wasn't as big as it was intended in some parts, in many ways it's bigger. And I love that twist too. So it's like cool seeing all these different people kind of like help him in a way. But the stuff with the kid, I love that suit. My brother and I still need to get that suit. But I just love it with a taxi driver. We get the Tito and Tarantula singer. That was a desperado from Dusk Till Dawn. He's a taxi cab driver. And it's just like, what's going on? Why'd you stop? Look at it, man. It's a fucking coup d'etat out there. I have no eyes, fuck mook. I can't see. Well, then listen to it, fucker. I don't know why. That dialogue is just so funny, but I love the music and how he's just like putting on like the wardrobe, and like when he goes to confront the area where the president is and Barrios' men, they're there, and he like gets the gun. He's like, psh, 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 and he like misses, but he basically does that so he can hear, and then he's like takes him. That final shot is beautiful with him bringing the money to his village and helping the people. You see that crossfade, and he wants to be free. And then you see him kissing the Mexican flag thing from the president's seal there at the end, walking off camera. I mean, that whole thing to Cynthia Mi Amor by Selma Hayek playing is just amazing. Me Gustas too, that part where Enrique Iglesias is shooting the bottles is great too. So many musical moments. It's just still one of my favorite films even 20 years later, and I don't know if I would be a filmmaker without seeing this film. You know, there's Star Wars, Mad Max, and Saturday Night Fever, like I said, but this was the one that showed me like, hey, this could be a reality. I could do this. One man did this. Anything's possible. And it's really great seeing technology. Anybody can make a film, but also there's going to be a lot of stuff out there that may be good or bad, and it really... Technology is great, but it's really the person behind the technology. And I think we need to remember that moving forward with the age of AI. Like, there's a lot of benefits if utilized correctly, but there's other ways where it can be utilized in a bad way. And I just think ultimately it's the person behind the paintbrush, you know, the artist behind it, whatever, how they use the tools to tell a story, that's what makes it. And Robert Rodriguez did a fantastic job too, where this is still my favorite film of his, along with Sin City. I love Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And it's great to see a trilogy that's been kind of left alone, even though there was talks of having a fourth and fifth film with Johnny Depp. Still kind of like to see that, but this trilogy is a fantastic, fantastic trilogy. And I just wanted to reflect upon it on its 20th anniversary. This is a film that really holds a special place in my heart. I will watch the DVD. I love the cover. Inside, it has like the red there, and then a machine gun, and then I think it has a scorpion disc, yeah. Has that. But overall, I remember getting this at Target. It had a portable DVD player. This is just an awesome, awesome movie. Anyway, those are my brief memories and retrospective of Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Let me know if you're a fan of this film. If you've ever seen the Mariachi trilogy, which one's your favorite? I know a lot of people love Desperado. I love all three for different reasons. El Mariachi has that nice independent feel. You have Moco as a villain, and kind of has like that Mad Max 1 vibe. Desperado kind of ups it a notch with like Steve Buscemi's character, and then Bucho. I'm looking for a man who goes by the name of Bucho. And then you have this one that's nice, you know. This one has so many cool moments. It's a very different film, and I love that each film kind of has its own flavor, together making the Mexico trilogy. Let me know your thoughts and memories of this film down in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more content. May everyone stay safe and healthy. Till next time.